Hello, how are you? So today's the big day when we're going to start this course. So this is Evolution, Bio 515, 616. 616 just means that there are graduate students amongst us. Hopefully they'll make themselves known and very present in the discussion boards. We'll get there in a minute. I just wanted to kind of give you a brief run through of where we're starting, what are we doing, these type of things. So since this is an online class, it is 100% online. You don't actually need a book. We're also not going to have tests, so there's no proctored tests, but no book. I have told people in the past, maybe you want a book, maybe you should check one out from the library or figure out what you want to find. I don't super think that's necessary. I think there's enough supporting material that you'll get there. I have recorded a bunch of lectures at this point that I'll use. You'll see it's like a weird timeline of lectures from the last 3 years that are in the class or course. And I've also pulled in a lot of helpful lectures from other accessible material. So I don't think you need a book. If you want to get a book, I'll talk about that a little bit in the syllabus and I'll show you what to get. My biggest thing is there aren't any evolution textbooks that I feel are worth the entirety of the money, especially for an 8-week class. We're not going to make it through that. So it just didn't seem worth it. The only thing I think you physically need for this class are these journal article notebooks. I have discussed with 2Photon, that's the scientist / artist that made these, using these in the course, and they are excited about this. So, and I've given them money. So you can make your own copies. I'm going to make the link available. I already sent it to you also. Or you can pick copies up from me, or I can mail them to you. These are all things that can happen. I will try to get this started basically as soon as you're watching this video. There'll be a link. I've already sent this to you, so you have it in an email somewhere else where you can fill out the survey, say how you want to get it, and then they're available outside my office, which is 236 in Temple by the elevator. Or you can, I can mail them to you and I'll start getting those out, or you can make your own copies. It would be ideal if you could staple it down the middle so it laid more flatter. But I didn't do that for this one, but I'm going to try to do that when I make the rest of the copies today. Okay, so that's the only thing you physically need, aside from pretty consistent internet access and a computer. Now, the computer labs are open, and I have the times and everything in the syllabus. So everything we're doing in this class, you can do in your computer lab. All of the, I try to do most of the assignments in the cloud, and there's even R in the cloud now, so that you don't have to, so you can use a computer lab computer without having to download stuff onto it. If at any time you have trouble accessing a computer or something like that, please let me know as soon as possible. But that is a definite thing. Also, you should know that this course keeps going even if you're on vacation. One of the ideal scenarios about this class is I've released it all at the same time. So you can essentially work ahead. So that would be what I suggest. Work ahead if you are planning on being gone for like a week or something, or do what many of us do and you'll see me do, work while you're on vacation. I have heard people working from libraries all over the country and various Wi-Fi locations all over the world. So this can happen. All right, everything for this class is going to run through Blackboard. So I know you don't have as many, and I'm currently going to show you last year's Blackboard because it looks prettier than your Blackboard does currently. But we'll get there. I zoomed in so that you could see things big, but now I can't tell where everything is. Okay, here we go. All right, this is the blackboard that yours will look almost identical to. So there'll be a few details that are changed, but you probably won't notice that. And the first thing you should do is go to the Start Here menu. This is on the left-hand side on the tabs. In Start Here, it's basically a module you work through. It tells you, gets you going in the class, gets you everything you need, and it tells you like the syllabus and the structure of the course. Okay, so Start Here will be the first thing that comes up. And then all of the units for each week will have a little like grid about what you're doing that week. So week 1's a little intense because you're going to work through the Start Here, and then you're going to also work through week 1. I'll get you there in a second. But the assignments just for the very, very beginning of class are pretty typical. It's things like introduce yourself and take a pre-quiz. Those are the types of things I need you to do early on so that we know where we're at, where we stand in this class. You'll take that pre-quiz again at the end. The pre-quiz is just going to be worth 10 points. Even if it tells you you didn't earn any points, I'm just going to type 10 in there once you've done it. So in general, you should know that the computer brain that works on these quizzes isn't as smart as we are. It's not that it's not as smart. It's not as flexible. So sometimes you're going to be like, I know this is the right answer. Just trust your gut and know that it's the right answer, and I'll fix it. Because sometimes the computer, like, it really wanted that word capitalized, or things that are beyond our control. So you just have to, when you're taking quizzes through Blackboard, relax. It's going to be okay for this class, and I can fix it after you've turned it in. I can't fix it before you've turned it in because then I have to fix it again. But once the due date has passed, I will fix whatever issues we've had with the quizzes. Okay, so it tells you that I want you to read the syllabus. I want you to review like the materials, get yourself comfortable with everything that's happening on Blackboard, where things are at, that kind of stuff. Add an avatar. So let's see, where's my avatar? All the way up here. It looks really teeny tiny. But on the discussion boards and when you turn in assignments, it'll show your picture. And mostly for discussion boards and answering questions, it's a lot easier for me to group things visually than it is to remember your names. So I can associate a name with a whatever. You don't have to put your face there. You can put, I don't know, a picture of a butterfly or something. But that's how I kind of like get to know you. We're using Flipgrid this time, which is a little bit like Snapchat, kind of. So we'll get to know each other a little bit better, I think, through that as well. But this just helps me like keep track of where everybody's at and who everyone is. Okay, so you have the syllabus. The syllabus talks about expectations, kind of the schedule, the class objectives. My ultimate goal here, so this is a 500 level class. We will work very hard. You will learn things you have never learned before. You will learn things that you've learned in the past aren't true. You will think I'm crazy multiple times, but it's okay. I am really interested in you taking this content and applying it to your everyday life. Even better, taking this content and telling someone else about it. That's the best. It's those moments when people are like, oh, I was talking to my mom on the phone and I was telling her all about the sea slugs with algae in their mouths. Yeah, this is where we're at. That's what I'm going for. Although this is a 500 level class and you're going to gain a lot of skills, very hireable skills, you also hopefully will like engage with the content and want to take it out elsewhere. Okay, this is the not fun thing. So this is a 3-hour class. in 8 weeks. It would normally be in 16 weeks, so it's twice as fast. You know, there's that algorithm that grumpy people say, but it's true. So you need to expect to spend like 15 to 18 hours a week on this course throughout our 8 weeks. Maybe you don't have to spend that much time, but some of you are going to be spending more time on that. Now, one thing to say is, if you are like, this is taking an unreasonable amount of time, because you have instincts, you guys are scientists in a 500 level class. If something seems like it's harder than it should be or taking longer than it should, shoot me an email or pop a thing in the Flipgrid or discussion board that says, hey, maybe I'm doing this wrong because it's taking hours and there's something probably I can do to help you. Okay? There are many students that have come through this class before you. I take a lot of feedback in, and a lot of these students I see almost daily too, because they now work for me or are graduate students. So if something seems off, just before you like bang your head against the wall, shoot me a message that's like, hey, this is weird. Or better off, put it on Flipgrid so that maybe somebody else can help you in case I can't help you as fast. Yeah, that's what you should do. Okay, my kind of thoughts about this class are, so it starts, I'm opening it up early, but you generally start on Monday. That Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday kind of time frame is reading the paper. You're going to have an article, you're going to read your article. Watching lectures that should supplement the article or figure out why we're reading that article so they'll tie in. Then you need to start thinking about questions you have. So when I'm reading an article, I go through and I circle words I don't know. I look those words up. I'm writing things in the margin. I should have brought one to show you. I didn't. That's also a good time for you to sit down and write out, what are the main points of this journal article? What are the methods? What did you think didn't work or wasn't convincing? Sketch the rough figures. There's going to be a lot of figures, but some of the figures are really, really important. Those will come up again in the reading quiz. So it's good to be able to identify that. Keywords. This is where I would put words that they're using a lot that maybe I don't know what that means and I need to look it up. And then questions you have. Those questions you have can go into your discussion board. We'll get there in a second. And so you guys can help answer each other's questions. That's the ideal scenario. And then on Thursdays and Fridays, you're completing tasks. These are things like, gotta get my Flipgrid done, so my discussion board, gotta pick my scientist out, gotta do these tasky things. Mondays, your phylogenetic practice is due, and Tuesdays is your reading quiz. Now, I know that the next week has already started by Tuesday, but I want to give you time to ask questions, answer each other's questions. On Monday, I kind of do a compilation just so that in case there's like hot topics. I also find that a lot of online classes structure so that Sunday is the last day of the week, so a lot of things are due on Sunday. But honestly, I feel like most of you do most of the work for the course on Sunday and Monday. So I've kind of scooched it over. All of this being said, I am not very rigid about due dates. Due dates exist in this class so that you don't get really behind and miss something. Also so that you don't work ahead so much so that you miss something back here that's going to affect all of this stuff. So that's why I kind of monitor the due dates. You'll be like, well, you guys didn't do this thing. Please do this. And I'll send out individual emails. But if you're behind, I try to catch up, try to work ahead, know your strengths and when you have time to work. I'm going to start doing a thing where I don't send out emails late at night or respond to emails late at night. This is just kind of to make a better culture all throughout science. I'm really bad about this because that's my time that I work, you'll see. Aside from when I come into the recording studio, I get most of my work done after bedtime of my small human. So, but I'm going to batch those so they send out in the morning, because there's no sense in you worrying about it all night or feeling like you have to respond to it at night. Okay, there's units. We kind of do 3 different units. The first is, what is evolution? I think a lot of times we need to start with definitions. What does this mean? Then it's, how do we measure it? Then it's, who cares about it? Why do we care? How does this pertain to our everyday life? Is this happening all around us? The answer is yes. Yeah, it is. But we'll get there. Okay, so those are our 3 different units. Our units are broken up into weeks. You'll see that when we get there. Technology. You need to be online. We talked about that. You need dependable internet. This has the computer hours on it. I'm going to make sure those are correct because it changes every summer. And it tells you where there's different computer labs, because there's computer labs spread out all over campus. Also, if you are in a city other than Springfield, which the vast majority of you are, your public library is a good option. Satellite campuses for other courses or other institutions are also really good options. I know Missouri State West Plains is super helpful and will let you work there, but I have heard of many other situations where you can go to a college campus computer lab and use it even if you aren't that student. So you just have to ask if that comes up. Also, potentially your high school, where you went to high school, will let you go to their computer lab and use it. Software requirements. There are going to be some things we do that are going to be much easier on your life if you use like Notepad or Text Wrangler, whatever the new version of Text Wrangler is called. So not Word, basically, is what I'm saying. This is because Word adds extra characters, hidden characters to things, and that's going to mess stuff up from time to time. I'm really good at fixing that because I've broken it a million times. So if you're having issues, that's probably the issue. Dump it into some sort Notepad on your computer. If you just type like, honestly, I would type Notepad into the search bar of your computer, you probably have something like that. Notes, something like that on both Mac or PC. I have both, used both, and I have a Notepad version on both. If you can use Text Wrangler, it's wonderful. So I would do that, but it's up to you. And then you're going to need to download R and R Studio. This is what's happening in week 1, so you're going to do this right away. All the content is in week 1 to talk you through doing this. Okay. Course structure. So you earn points by completing assignments. These assignments are things like R and R, installing R, then building a phylogeny in R, doing a blast search, doing muscle. They're just practice so that when we talk about these papers and what they did and what types of evolution are occurring, you could say, oh, we would measure that using these things. These are the tools associated with evolutionary biology. The good thing is evolutionary biologists love open access, so we can use most of these tools for free. Now, we are often using really simplified data sets. It gets complicated and scales out. So I think it'll be challenging enough for you where it's at. Also, if you have a data set, let's just use that. You can use that data set, even if we have to use different R packages or whatever. If that means that you're getting further in your research, let's do it. I am more than happy to talk to you about that, and we can figure that out. Okay, so you're doing these assignments. The vast majority of these assignments, they're in each week, but I also like to put them all over here. There's 2 places. Tree thinking. These are all the like installing R, practicing blast, doing muscle alignments, build a phylogeny. They're all really laid out here. There's some helpful things. There's a lot of videos in here. There's even things that you don't necessarily do as assignments, but in case you need to learn how to do them, they're in there for you as resources. The other tab is your assignments. These are your big projects. This is just so they're, once again, even though they're in each week, so you can go and see everything all at one time. I like to have it 2 places. They are linked to each other, so it's not like you're turning things in 2 different places. This might be a good time. I put Safe Assign in here. I don't really use it, but I find that a lot of you use it in other courses, and so you can always practice dumping stuff into Safe Assign down here. Okay, back to our start here. Oh, coming back to these things. So your assignments, that's about 25% of your grade. You have projects. Those are the midterm project and the final project. I'll get there in a minute, which are about 50% of your grade. And then you have reading quizzes, which are 20%, and discussion boards, which are 10%. I know that adds up a little wonky. I promise it all adds up together. It's going to be great. It's going to be fine. You're going to love it. Your reading quizzes, so each week we read a paper for the first 6 weeks. Week 7 and what is left of week 8, you'll be doing your own independent research. And I feel like that's too much to add to it. These papers are interesting. I change them frequently. They prompt you for your discussion board, and then you will take a quiz about it on Tuesdays. That quiz, we've talked about this. There may be weird things where the question says you didn't answer, or it didn't count your answer. I have to go back through and grade them later. I will try to fix all those errors before the class starts, but it's going to happen because Blackboard quizzes are like some weird ring of logic that nobody knows. Okay. And then for your discussion boards, this year, or this semester, we're going to use Flipgrid instead of just your typical discussion board. Flipgrid, you will have to access outside. I'll put the links in there, but it'll take you to a different website. The website, when you log into Flipgrid, will look something like this. Yep. And it'll have a bunch of different grids because you'll have 7 of them at least. There's one for introductions. There's one for reading the first reading. So week 1's Flipgrid is up already. It'll give you like a prompt, and then you will record about that. I am going to put a tutorial and a video so you know what to do and how to do this. Also, you can do this on your phone, which many of you might like even more than doing it on your computer. Okay, so if I log in, so this is like the student view of the first Flipgrid. Nobody has responded yet because it's not on yet, but I put in the video. So this video is the mega plate from reading 1. This is the BAM et al. Paper. This paper is about antibiotic resistance. And it says the prompt is kind of to get you comfortable with words. They're using a lot of vocabulary here, some of which you're going to know, some of which you've seen before, but you're like, what did that mean? So I want you to get comfortable with these words. These are just words I picked out of the abstract that are not everyday words. They're scientific. Also, use your Flipgrid to start helping each other with reading quizzes. You can go into that reading quiz multiple times. So I prefer if you don't just type what is the answer to question 6, but if you are like, what does this mean in this context, or ask pertinent questions. I reserve the right to turn off any of your videos It says that multiple places in the terms of agreement. So if you're doing something unsavory, that is going to happen. But otherwise, use it to help each other. And then you'll see down here a bunch of different people's recordings. And so you can then make your own, and you can also respond to other people's. I expect you to not only record your own video, but respond to other people's videos. That's why you have so much time to do this. Okay, so get it out there, get it going. That's how you're going to earn points for the discussion board. Each week, you have about 14 points worth of discussion board. Oops. Okay, and then it talks about, the 2 projects. The first project is your series of interviews. So you start with interviewing yourself about evolution. Your thoughts, keywords, what do you know now? It's a little bit like a pre-quiz and a self-reflection simultaneously. That'll be due in the second week. Then you interview a scientist. So you will choose a scientist. I have a big list, or you can find your own and clear it with me. These are evolutionary biologists. A lot of them are working right now because it's much more interesting. We do a mix because we need the theory, evolutionary theory. So we need all of those old white guys to come into play, but we also need to see how all of that evolutionary background is playing out in science today. So we do a mixture. So you all pick one. You don't actually contact that person. Instead, you look up their papers. You find YouTube videos where they're talking. You look at books they've written, various things in order to answer questions. There's a series of questions like you're that person. Okay? You're going to make a little blog about it. You'll answer your questions as though you are Lynn Margulies. Then you will, with your group, you're going to be assigned a group, compare and contrast your evolutionary biologists, because you will find that not all of us agree on literally anything. What is a species? What are the main mechanisms in evolutionary force? How fast is evolution? When and where does it occur? All of these things everybody has a different opinion about. Everybody, lots of times they're right. Like, not only do they have different opinions, but they can find an example where that is the answer to that, or that is true for that study organism or location or whatever. So you synthesize, that's the comparing of your scientists. And then finally, at the very end of the semester, you're going to interview a different human, a friend, a family member, not a biologist or a bio major, anyone else. I want you to do this to kind of see how public opinion about evolution and your tone when talking about science relates to or impacts the content. So I get a lot of, Katie, you teach evolution in Missouri. That's got to be controversial. It's not, because we're just talking about actual things. We define words. We use those definitions to measure things that are happening in real life. Okay? It's not controversial. Anyway, so that's your interview. It's a lot of steps. And then you'll have a final product. Your other project, you have 2 choices of routes. It's an unessay. Unessay means you're not going to turn in a written thing. You're going to do something else. Now, some of you might choose some sort of written project. Yeah, that's okay. I recorded a whole video the other day about this, so you're just going to watch that video and learn more about it. I would start thinking about, watch the video early so you can start thinking about what you want it to be. Also, again, if you do research already, you should use that topic so that you can use the things you've learned in this class to like write a paper or, I don't know, help you build on what you're already doing. There's no reason to not double count things. Okay. You're talking with your peers who are other humans. I know we all have differences of opinion sometimes, but be respectful. If for any reason something happens and this isn't what I don't feel like you're being respectful, you will be turned off of the class, and we will deal with that in another way. This has never happened before. You're all wonderful. It's going to be great. Communication. Please use your school email because otherwise weird things happen and I can't track where content went, how you turned in something, any of that. I really, really need you to use your school email. I need you to log into Blackboard repeatedly. I also will suggest that you download the Blackboard Calendar app. A lot of you have this at this point, but let's go over here. Blackboard Calendar is going to have all of your assignments in it. It's going to show you where, this is a poor choice because, again, I'm in the wrong semester. There we go. So see, this was June of last year. It shows you when things are due and where. Sometimes I will move a deadline just back so that because we haven't had enough time. I feel really strongly about pacing. I'm not going to force anything if we haven't had enough time to do it. So from time to time, I move things backwards. But I think this will help you stay on top of things. There's also a written calendar, which I'll show you in a second. But this calendar will be really helpful. Okay. Speaking of written calendar, here it is. This is 2018, but your 2019 will be right here. It'll have a picture of it. It will have the PDF and the Word document, so you can print it. You can screen read it. You can do whatever you want. Write it into your thing. It has the entirety of the semester. When things are due. All of that. The only really, really firm deadlines are I have to have everything by August 2nd, or you won't get points for it because that is when grades are due on Monday. So I have to have it by that Friday in order to get things graded. Your links to your quizzes are always loaded into whatever week you are in. Okay, that is all of this. I skipped over a lot of university policies, and it's not because they're not important, but it is because I want to talk to you a little bit about this more personally. I intend for this class to be both inclusive and accessible. I have done, actually you can see this here, like, see how they have these little things? It's because I'm in instructor mode, but I have done a lot to make things accessible, but if for some reason you are using a screen reader and it doesn't read something, or you are having trouble attaining the content and relating it back to me, just let me know. I am more than willing to work on whatever you need to work on. That being said, if you do not want your face on Flipgrid, don't put your face in it. You can still record a thing, or we can figure out how you can upload content to Flipgrid without having a recording. I'm pretty sure that works. So where it would just be like words. You can contact me here. See how it says Dr. Frederick. This is all about me. This also has my email. It will have my Skype information. Here is my Twitter account. I pull a ton of this class from Twitter. And some papers that I have done, maybe they're not super up to date. I might add some more. We will have Skype office hours. In Skype office hours, you can also just instant message or text message, essentially. So that's super easy. If at any point you have questions, just shoot me a text message. I will set up a link on here so that you can just access my calendar and you'll know exactly when you can choose your office hours that you want to have or when you want to set up an appointment. Okay, that's my information. Oh, okay, so your weekly stuff is all in content. Week 1, or Unit 1, which is weeks 1 through 3. Here they are. I like to just put random pictures in so that it's something visual. And then here's everything you're going to do this week. Lectures, the reading, discussion board, reading quiz, and links to your assignments. Remember that the course calendar has when everything is due. Let me check my notes to see if there's anything else I forgot to tell you. No. Okay, this got a little long, but not terrible. You can do it. Good luck. I'm excited to see what all of you bring to the table, and we will talk very soon.